for lack of a better term, I kind of lost my purpose there for a little bit. I was like, I really don't know what exactly I'm here for. I don't know exactly how I'm going to help people. I'm kind of just here. So that was my divine intervention there of like, okay, let me continue with the helping people field, as I call it. And I didn't know about public service. I didn't know about nonprofit. I didn't know any of that stuff at the time. I just knew I wanted to help people. So what is the helping people field? A week later, though, me and my mom were actually at breakfast, and I got an email from somebody that I had applied for a job for and they basically said, hey, we saw your application. We are really interested in you applying for this job. Here's a link, and it was AmeriCorps.gov's link. Here's the link for you to go and sign up to further apply for this job, get the interview and things of that nature. And I was like, I don't want to do this. I've applied to hundreds of things. I don't want to sign up for another website, do another interview, and then get rejected again.
Before we get into it, I have to shout out our friends at Idealist. If you're listening to this podcast, you already get it. Service matters, community matters, doing good matters. And Idealist is where over 40 million people have gone to turn that feeling into something real. Jobs, volunteer opportunities, ways to give back, right where you are. Don't wait. Go check out the link in the show notes right now. Explore the possibilities. And then, of course, come back for this incredible service story. Let's go. Shayna, you were on the special edition of the AmeriCorps Connections podcast during the 250 and beyond, and we had a really quick 15-minute episode where you talked about your volunteering, which was Meals on Wheels and part of the commission and all these things that people were probably like, I want to know so much more. So I'm so happy to have you back on the podcast, the AmeriCorps Connections podcast, to talk more about what you did during your service year and how that leads you to what you're doing now, which, folks, she also volunteered kind of to support the AmeriCorps Connections podcast to reach more people. 2026, I'm really focused on reaching more people with this podcast. If you like this content, please, if you're listening on YouTube, subscribe and share. If you're listening to it on your streaming devices of where you get your podcasts, comment, leave a review, and then also share. We need to get these stories out because national service makes a difference. It makes a difference in our communities, and it makes a difference in us as people. Shayna, I am so excited to have you back with us. So let's go into your service story. So when we were together before, it was like, I'm doing this for volunteering. But what? I'm still not super clear with when you started to volunteer, how you got connected with AmeriCorps. So what got you connected to AmeriCorps, and what's your story? I'm just gonna put you up there.
Yeah, no worries at all, Nikki. And thank you for having me back too as well. I appreciate the opportunity to come back and get a little bit more in depth with my service story. Cause like I tell a lot of folks, my service story is a little bit unorthodox, I will say. So I was raised in a household that was basically foundational sense of mine. Like everyone's put on the planet to serve. So whether it's like getting someone a glass of water or becoming president of the United States, everyone in some capacity is here to serve on the planet. For my time, I was a Girl Scout when I was in school. We did a lot of volunteer projects with Girl Scouting in school and things of that nature. But for me, I always really enjoyed helping people. I did enjoy the volunteer aspects of it. And then I also enjoyed reading, writing, the creative arts aspect of it and things of that nature. Once I got into high school, I was really interested in the creative writing space, becoming a writer, writing a book, that sort of thing, pretty much. I was like, I can help people by writing a book about something and being a fiction writer, kind of thing. And I did, and I still do pursue the writing path ever so often, but it's shifted a little bit. So once I graduated high school, I went into college. When you're entering into college for the first time, you're just like, I have no idea what to do. This is newfound independence. And like, what am I going to do with all of this? And that same feel came from me as well, too. When I was an English major at the time, I was like, I like doing this, but I don't love doing this pretty much. And I spoke to one of my professors about it, and she said, just try a bunch of different things. Go out there, and if you find like, I'm not really into this, you can always come back to school and try something else again. And I was like, I don't really have money to do all of that, unfortunately. So, thank you for the advice. I have to leave school. I kind of, for lack of a better term, I kind of lost my purpose there for a little bit. I was like, I really don't know what exactly I'm here for. I don't know exactly how I'm going to help people. I'm kind of just here at this moment. So what I ended up doing was, classic. I went on the job search, applied for a couple jobs here and there. And the last job that I got, the guy, it was to a dermatologist. I was going to be their receptionist. And I went in for the interview, and the guy basically was like, I read over your resume and everything. I like what I see here, but do you mind if I ask you a couple philosophical questions? Sure, I guess. This is not the typical interview, but I was like, let me play ball. I need the money. So he asked me a couple questions like, do you like books or do you like watching TV? Do you like helping the rich or do you like helping the poor? If you could do anything with your free time, what would you be doing? Then questions like that. And after going through the question and answer round with him, he basically said, he's like, I think you're great. I think you'd be a good match here, but I don't think you would love being here. I think you really love going out into this field of service and helping people. And I was like,
Who is this person?
right? Oh my God. The funny thing is, I don't even know if he's still a dermatologist here or not, but
That's wild. Oh, you're like, I'm trying to figure things out, and something just happens, and it shifts.
Mm-hmm.
And it's funny, and I feel what you're saying is sometimes when I went through those experiences, I can't find that person again. I look for them, and I'm like, they don't exist.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, sorry, I totally interrupted, but
no, and he's
in that.
It's fun. Again, it's one of those things where I call it divine. My mom calls it divine intervention, basically. That person.
What if microwave popcorn didn't have to be full of chemicals, plastics, and mystery ingredients? Conventional microwave popcorn bags are lined with toxic chemicals, artificial flavors, and trans fats. You deserve better. Meet Pops Up Popcorn, a family-made, chemical-free microwave popper from Somersworth, New Hampshire. Just pop in non-GMO kernels, pop it in the microwave, and watch it pop up. No plastic, no silicone, no junk. One box pops 120 cups of delicious air-popped popcorn. Then season it your way. Vermont maple, buttermilk ranch, sweet sriracha, and more. All made with real ingredients. Get your popcorn and seasoning today by heading over to PopZup, that's POPZUP.com, and at checkout, enter code Nikki10 for 10% off your order. That's Nikki 10, NICKI10 for 10% off your order. Snack clean, snack smart, Pops Up Popcorn, the better way to pop.
That person that comes in and says, I see that you're trying to get on the right path. Here's what the right path is for you, just plain and simple, right? So that was my divine intervention there of like, okay, let me continue with the helping people field, as I call it. And I didn't know about public service. I didn't know about nonprofit. I didn't know any of that stuff at the time. I just knew I wanted to help people. So what is the helping people field? And funny enough, a week after that interview, I was so disappointed that I didn't get the interview. I was like, dang, I really need the money for that job, but I get it. I understand. I respect it. I respect what he did. A week later, though, me and my mom were actually at breakfast, and I got an email from somebody that I had applied for a job for, and they basically said, hey, we saw your application. We are really interested in you applying for this job. Here's a link, and it was AmeriCorps.gov's link. Here's the link for you to go and sign up to further apply for this job, get the interview, and things of that nature. And I was like, I don't want to do this. I've applied to hundreds of things. I don't want to sign up for another website, do another interview, and then get rejected again. But something in my mind just told me, just try it, Shayna. What do you have to lose at this point? you go to school for a little bit here and there. You eating breakfast with your mom. What do you have to lose, Shayna, in this? So I was like, all right, fine. So I went on the AmeriCorps.com website. I signed up, filled out my information. I got my 3 references from folks that I used to work with at the job and everything. And I went ahead and I was like, okay, let me look through some of these things and see exactly what all of this is about, pretty much. Is there anything in the state of Pennsylvania? And funny enough, my service year that I did, it was actually based up in Scranton, Pennsylvania, which is 45 minutes away from me. Love that. The thing was, they were looking for a volunteer coordinator, an evaluations coordinator, and then a research coordinator. I had 0 experience in any of those things. I had no idea. And I had no skills whatsoever for any of that stuff. So I was like, I'm going to just try and apply and see what happens there. As with anything, YOLO, just say yes, don't count yourself out, all of those great things. So I went ahead, I applied, and I got a call from the executive director, and we talked for a little bit during the interview, and she found that I wasn't great for the evaluations or research role. She said, but you sound like you'd be a good fit for volunteer coordinator. I said, okay, cool. And that was that.
You're a people person.
Please. So she was like, yeah, please and thank you. Do the please and thank you sign up and help us recruit new volunteers and things of that nature. I was like, okay, great. You know, August came around, August 19th came, and
Let's go.
yeah, it was my first day, and I hit the. So as the volunteer coordinator, and the organization called Friends of the Poor, they just recently merged with another food insecurity, poverty-centric organization there. My role basically was recruiting new volunteers, especially the younger bracket of volunteers, so those under the age of 30, maintaining the volunteer base that we had, so volunteer satisfaction-based stuff, and then, of course, developing easier, more accessible ways to translate over our programming. How do we do virtual programming? How can we get programming for students that are in schools? How can we get programming for the elderly and things? My full-time job, I actually got, again, I didn't have any skills as an admin assistant, but, you know, I utilized the skills that I learned when I was a volunteer coordinator. So doing outreach, getting on the phone and calling people, organizing, Excel spreadsheets, Microsoft, like all of that stuff, I just basically, the classics, integrated into my application. And I basically said, I like helping people. I'm personable. And I'm willing to learn anything. And that's one thing that my service year really taught me. It was really about being adaptable. Because there were some days when my service year too, it was like, why am I even doing this? This is so stressful. Like, why am I doing this? But again, it's because of what I'm doing right now. So I've had my job at my local Meals on Wheels here for 5 years. Last month, actually, which is crazy. And during that duration of time, I wanted to continue doing national service because I like doing national service. I like my service year, but I was like, I feel like my service year could have been better, not including the COVID, essentially. COVID, I wish everyone could erase and deal with that its own thing. But there were a lot of things during my service year that I wish I was like, it definitely could have been done better in that case scenario. So I was like, how can I get involved with more of that? So I went on Ask, which is America Service Commission, their website, and I was looking up the different the state commissions that they had. I wanted to see if Pennsylvania had one, right? So I went, I saw Pennsylvania had a commission, that how many youth commissioners were across the country. And I noticed Pennsylvania was not on the list for youth commissioners. So I went ahead, I got the information for the executive director. I emailed her. I said, hey, I'm a service year alumni. I'm doing a lot of work in the nonprofit sector. I have a digital marketing background. I don't know what you need. Here's my resume. I like to be youth commissioner, even though I'm 24 at the time, going on 25. She replied back. She said, yeah, we love the application, love the statement of interest. Sent it off to the governor. Within 3 or 4 months, I heard back and I was appointed. to become Pennsylvania's first youth commissioner in over 7 years. It's really as simple as that. And then, of course, the adage that, because I'm a football fan, I'm a Bucks fan. I know some people might be like, nah, why aren't you an Eagles fan? Why aren't you a Steelers fan? Those are the state defaults. You got to have a favorite team and a state default. All that being said, Tom Brady has this saying, basically, once you get out there on the field, once he got out there on the field, they were never going to take him off the field, which is basically a test to that strong work ethic and that preparation mindset. Peyton was the same way. It's like, you can outrun me, you can outthrow me, but you can't outprepare me. So once I got the opportunity to be youth commissioner, I was like, I'm going to do all that I can within these 2 years. I don't know what I'm going to do because they haven't had one in a while, but I'm going to figure something out. I'm going to do the thing. And during that duration of time, Allstate Foundation gave the youth commissioners grant funding for service projects across the country. And I was like, oh, fantastic. I know exactly. Exactly. So I was like, yes. What? I know exactly what I'm going to do with this money. I'm going to find the next youth commissioner. Because again,
see, this is exactly what I'm talking about. If this conversation is activating something in you, don't just let that feeling sit there. Go check out Idealist. They've connected over 40 million people with opportunities to serve, give back, and do good. Whatever that looks like for you, go explore. And the link will be in the show notes. And now back to the episode.
My priority is to make sure I got someone in the role that can speak to individuals now that are living through current issues that we are dealing with and how they can go out and help the world. I partnered with a local youth organization here in my county, and funny enough, we both wanted to do a youth-led conference, so it worked out fantastic. She ended up doing the majority of the work, and I ended up supporting her with the grant money. And through that process, myself and a handful of board members and former service year individuals got together, and we reviewed what they call their reflection essay. So they had to conduct a service project. They went through the organization calls it the FACES curriculum, which in short basically is, how do you fundraise? How do you market? How do you tell people what your mission is? How do you pick what your service project's going to be? Here are the sustainable development goals from the United Nations. What do all of them mean? How do they integrate into your everyday life? That sort of thing. Then you have to conduct a service project based around one of those goals, and then you have to write a reflection essay on it. Myself and the peers went ahead, we reviewed the essays, and the individual that we selected, I love her to pieces. And I was like, this is exactly what we need in a youth commissioner. So we ended up appointing her. Her name is Ariel. She is 17 going on 18. She was just accepted into Delaware Valley University. Yeah, she's going there for zoo science. She wants to be a veterinarian, so we love that. And and I told her a little bit about AmeriCorps, and she loves service years, and she wants to do one herself. So I've been working with Del Valley to figure out, like, how can we have this service year pipeline, not just for the book students, but for the other students that are in sociology, psychology, etc. And going from there. So she's youth commissioner, which is, okay, I guess I'm done with the board now. But it's a no, you are not. So they had an opening for a community agency commissioner, and they said, you've done so much work. We like you. Do you want to stay? I said, yes, I will absolutely love to stay. So now I have the opportunity to outreach, because before it was outreach to youth, but now it's outreach to the different community organizations and leadership and partnerships and collaborations that we have throughout the state of Pennsylvania, and working with them to develop, like with Del Valley, hopefully a pipeline for service year, or individuals interested in doing service years as a reflection of their academic learning. Or like Arizona State has a program developed for national service. If you want to go in and learn a little bit more about the public sector and service, they have something like that. So I'd love for Pennsylvania to get something like that. And working with different programs to help fortify their AmeriCorps programming and things of that nature. One major thing that we had recently, in January, we hosted the MLK Day forum, a new era of youth service through Youth Service America. We had the opportunity to host that up here in Stroudsburg, Pennsylvania, which was fantastic. We had a youth panel, we had adult community members come and speak, and we had over 50 people, both on Zoom and in person, listening to what the issues were for students, for adults, and how we can mediate those issues and come up with solutions together. So I hope to do more partnership projects like that in the future. And now the biggest thing, which is I talked about it when I was invited to go to Carnegie last year in October. I got the opportunity to speak about my communications background there. And one of the things that I told them that I was like, everybody should just do this now because all of us have the experience to do it. And they're words, but you mean the words, is to put national service influencer in your LinkedIn bios. And after that, I did do that. And I was like, it's like, let's just put it in there. We all know what we're doing at this point. And it's one of those things where it's like, I didn't expect Al or Wendy to do it. And Alice over Carnegie, Wendy is the one that created Teach for America or City, or one of the two programs. Oh God, she's gonna quiz. Don't take my card for that, guys. I'm sorry. But I didn't expect it for that. I didn't expect for them to put it in their bio or anything. But again, it's one of those things where it's like, if we want to start establishing public service and national service as a niche, and I think that's really what it is at the end of the day, it's one of those things where if it's not integrated into our schools like it was in the past, then it's going to be niche content that groups of people are going to be interested in, basically. So I basically said that, and I was like, how am I going to verify this title? And then, Service Year Alliance has their Alums Amplify program, and I applied twice. I didn't get accepted into the first cohort, but I got accepted into the second cohort. So I'm very excited that I have the opportunity to be one of the alumni that gets platformed. I'm very excited that I had the opportunity to meet other alumni, including Nikki, who is also part of the Amplify program. Icon, as she should, honestly. And again, it's platforms like this that we need more of, and that we're always continuously pushing for. And anytime I talk to folks, I'm like, we need more folks like Nikki. Where are all the Nikkis? We now get the opportunity to not just talk to our local officials, state officials, and federal officials and things of that nature, but we also get to do fun things. Like, for me, I got the opportunity to speak on a career panel about my service year. I got the chance to speak at a Rotary for a little bit about what is a service year? How do you go about getting a service year? Who does it apply to? That sort of thing. And I also had the opportunity to meet a current Vista here in my area. She works at our national park. So she got the chance to be my personal testimonial, since it's been 5 years since I've been in the national service space. So I try my best to stay relevant in that, stay current in that space is how I'll phrase that. Stay current in that space. And that's where interactions like that come into play. What is going on now? What issues are you seeing now that we did not see 5 years ago? How do we develop partnerships so this does not continue being an issue? Now I get the opportunity to put those partnership and collaboration skills that I have in my back pocket to work. And whether it's through multilateral partnerships with, food and beverage organizations, or a lot of things that we speak about is housing. And the phrase that I use that both intrigued people, shocked people, and I hope was a good thing that intrigued people was basically people aren't gonna give a shit about volunteering if they don't have housing or food, which shocked a lot of people. But at the same exact time, anytime I talk to current Vistas, state national, a lot of us are saying, like, we need housing. We need the ability to make sure we have affordable access to food. How do we get the ball rolling on these particular programs? So it's even partnering with things like it was an ambitious goal, but I really wanted to partner with BlackRock because they're a private equity company, but they're also in charge of a lot of the single family households that we have here. Hey guys, you got billions of dollars. You think you can donate some of that housing to AmeriCorps, please and thank you. Oh my God, yes. To send every billionaire off on an NCCC stunt, I would absolutely love that. I would pay so much money to go and see it, honestly. And in that same vein, encouraging vistas and state national folks and alumni to the very best of our ability to stay connected and to make sure that we have these conversations continuously and find out how we can support each other. Because service years don't just stop at the service year. You take those with you. And whether that's in the skills that you've developed or the friendships that you've made, I have one individual that I've become bestest of friends with over these past 5 years. And I met her through my service year. We connected over One Direction, as one does. And we've traveled plenty of places to see our boys. I actually went to Las Vegas for the first time, the west side of the country for the first time ever, as a result of us wanting to go and see Zayn. So whether it's through connections like that or a business connection or somebody needs help starting a restaurant or somebody needs help starting a 501c3, those connections stay with you for forever in a day. And I would hope that through my duration of time as a Alums Amplify member, as commissioner for the state, or even at a local level with my America 250 stuff and local/national stuff, because Made by Us is a national organization, I hope to continue pushing for those social connected relationships and those friendships to be developed, and just folks remembering that we're all in this together at the end of the day and that we're all here on the planet to serve one another. Yeah, that's pretty much, I was gonna say, that's pretty much my journey in a nutshell.
You're the kind of person that is embracing all of the opportunities. And I think that during a service year, you don't realize all of the opportunities that are open to you. And once you start to realize the landscape that you're part of, you just lean into it, and it's so exciting because you want to bring others along. And I think that that is definitely what I heard in so much of what you were saying is it's all possible, and it's all possible for you. It's all possible for any AmeriCorps member who did a service year, completed a service year, and could be part of all of these opportunities. So I appreciate you being so candid and showing that there's so many ways that as an AmeriCorps alum, a commission member, and all of those things we could just be part of. So we do have to close out. I just want you to say a few things of where do you want people to go from here? If you were to say what people could do or have or be through national service, what would you want them to know?
Hmm.
Hmm. Really? You're speechless? Really? Come on.
That's, I wanted to give that added suspense in there, that chop in the middle, like that quiet part where it's like, yes, okay, I can edit that out here. That can be turned into a reel. Got it. Thank you. Honestly, I would say just go out there and give it a shot. At first, during my job search, when I was like, ah, man, I really don't want to apply to just another website. AmeriCorps was definitely not just another website. AmeriCorps in and of itself is an experience. And for folks like myself, it's been an incredible experience. Like folks like my friend, but she's a teacher in a low-income community. She loves the kids to bits and pieces, and she would have not been there if she didn't do her service year. That is for sure. So, it's really just about going out there, giving it a shot, trying it out. There's so many different facets of AmeriCorps. So whether it is through City Year or Teach for America, or you wanted to become a Vista or do FEMA Corps or NCCC, just going out there, giving it a shot, giving it a try, and just finding out about it. And again, it has great benefits as well too. Not just the classic ones that we hear, like the Battelle grant, so the education grant that you get once you finish your service year and everything. But again, you also have those social connections as well too, because AmeriCorps at the end of the day is like any other network of family, essentially. Like once you meet one person in AmeriCorps, it feels like you're going to meet another one and another one. And next thing you have a giant family of AmeriCorps members. It's like a secret club that we're part, but we want more people to join.
Okay, folks. So we're gonna land the plane here. Shayna, this is so exciting. And I'm so glad that we connected. And I love the intergenerational experience that we're having. And I love that you're gonna help me expand the podcast and yeah, and all of the things. But folks, if you have made this long, might as well subscribe because it actually makes a difference with the algorithms. And yeah, I've updated the playlist. So if you're interested in what is NCCC, you can actually go to the YouTube channel and click on NCCC or Vista or State and National. And it's actually really fun. I was having a really good time with that. Anyways, Shayna, thank you for being a fan of the podcast and doing all the things. And I'm going to close it out. And next time we'll have another AmeriCorps alums. And looking forward to having everybody. Bye, everybody. I was having a really good time. So, everybody, thank you so much for joining the AmeriCorps Connections podcast. If you haven't done it already, please hit subscribe. It really makes a difference in the podcast algorithms. So if you like this content and you want it to continue, I just need you to hit subscribe and share it.